Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will continue to make my way through the 2024 horror movies released I've missed. So I returned to Shudder and watched the Irish Damien McCarthy directed horror film Oddity. This low-budget supernatural horror film was McCarthy's second feature film he's directed. There's been a decent amount of buzz about this film as it has been placed highly on lists I've read of the top 2024 horror films. I was excited to give it a shot and went in as blind as possible. The film premiered at South by Southwest on March 8th, 2024. It was given a limited theatrical run and was released on Blu-ray and DVD before ultimately finding its way to Shudder. One thing I appreciate about Shudder's exclusive and original films is that many get physical media releases. They know their audience. Horror movie fans are the biggest physical media collectors in my experience. This is something I wish was carried over to other streaming services. So with that brief context being laid out, let's review Oddity. Here's a brief plot synopsis courtesy of Wildcard Distribution, which states the following. Danny Odello Timmis, a psychiatrist's wife, is brutally murdered in her newly acquired country house. Her twin sister Darcy, a clairvoyant, investigates the crime, uncovering a sinister plot involving her sister's husband, Ted. Darcy's pursuit of truth leads to a terrifying confrontation with the dark forces at play, ultimately resulting in a shocking and tragic conclusion. The film features a human-sized, wood-carved mannequin that comes to life. This may make you believe this is a silly or goofy horror film, but it's a classy, old-school ghost story. That's not to say it's completely self-serious, but it's not as silly as those films typically become. This is a well-crafted chiller. It feels old-school, but utilizes jump scares as well as any modern horror film. The production design is well done for a lower-budget film. The whole film feels very deliberate in all its aesthetic choices. I like a lot of the aesthetics and what they were able to accomplish within just a few settings. It helps to build a mysterious world before we even get too far into the story. The story is interesting, with an attention-grabbing premise and an effective atmosphere that captures your interest through the ending. The subpar writing puts the onus on carrying the narrative onto the direction of the film, which delivers, crafting an atmosphere that primes us to be scared. I wasn't expecting to be scared watching this, but I must admit that several of the jump scares got me. It wasn't just the jump scares that got me either. The atmosphere of the film got under my skin. The direction maintains a strong, general, tense vibe. The music, production design, and cinematography work in tandem to unsettle you. It's hard to scare me beyond the basic loud noise jump scare, but this film finds a way which immediately earns my respect. The mystery itself is not very difficult to figure out, but the way it all unravels is compelling. I don't particularly like any of the characters, and I think that the acting was less than stellar, but the attitude and craftsmanship of the production makes the most of what they have, masking the flaws of the film. This is something that I wanted to see from In a Violent Nature, this ability to use the low budget to your advantage. That film insisted on following all the old beats and crafting a film with no real sense of tension or care for anything or anyone. This film, while not featuring the most compelling characters, sucks you into the mystery, into the scenes. The sound design unsettles you, the production design elevates the atmosphere, and the direction executes the scares that stay with you. As I said, I have serious problems with the acting, which struggles to elevate beyond mediocre writing. Everything is too obvious for a mystery. All the characters are stereotypical. This prevents the film from transcending its lower budget nature. Each character feels like a cookie-cutter narrative placeholder rather than an organic being. This hurts the tension in the atmosphere, with everything becoming a bit more obvious and cliched. However, despite these flaws, the clear, talented direction on display saves the film. There is something here that works, that can be built on. With a larger budget and a more ambitious scope, I can see that transcendent potential. I haven't seen this director's other works, but I will have to track down his other work, and I look forward to the rest of his career. I don't think this belongs amongst the best horror films of the year, and to be honest, I'm kind of surprised by how well received this movie has been. It is near the top of most horror movie lists I've seen this year. So with that in mind, when I make my video for this year in horror, I don't expect Oddity to be at the top of the list, but I would still recommend it for fans of the genre. That's all for this week's video. Another brief review as I catch up with this year's horror movies. I'm still looking forward to watching Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, as well as catching up with several other highly regarded 2024 horror films before making my year in review video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week.